Hi there, Kerry Waring here, and this is Kerry TV, where you'll find answers and insights and tips and tools to create a life with love, purpose, and inspiration. And from time to time, I'll also throw in some tips on mediumship and mentoring in that realm, because that's one of my passions and what I love to do today to help you with is a little bit along those lines, and it's in response to a question I received from Lachlan. And he wants to know how you tell the difference between your thoughts and a spirit inspired thoughts. He finds that with his mediumship development that he often holds back through doubt because he's not sure whether it's a thought from spirit or from himself, which generally will have him not passing the message on, even though he knows that he's had experiences where his mediumship has been validated and been proven to correct before. And now, firstly, I need to say to Lachlan that please know you are not alone. Every mediumship student that I've ever worked with has encountered this and sat and thought about this themselves. And in today's video, I'm actually going to cover not just spirit-inspired thoughts, but intuition as well. And there are really three things that I want to share with you about. So firstly, know that it's really, really common. Secondly, when you receive a thought from spirit, when you receive an intuitive thought, there is a certain type of energy that comes with it. There is a calmness, a warmth, there is a sense of peace that flows through your body. And you feel this difference between your own monkey mind thoughts, which tend to sit and just feel a little empty. There's a difference in the feeling and the energy that comes with them. So raise your awareness to become aware of that. And especially if it is a spirit communication, if you are using your mediumship and you are sitting with the energy of spirit, or even if you're going about your day and spirit is just impressing themselves upon you, one of the things that you'll find is that with the thought, there is an accompanying energy. It feels like a warm blanket enveloping you. You may feel subtle tingles and vibrations throughout your energy, but these will accompany any thoughts. So learn to distinguish those differences and learn to see and recognize those. And I know one of the things that when I was very early in my teaching, one of the things that Spirit said to me is that when you are learning and developing, and when you are sitting in circle and you are sitting down to work, so when you are actually embracing spirit and you have an intention to pass messages, so when you are sitting to work and you are learning, one of the things that spirit said to me is that pretty much about 70% of what you'll receive is spirit. So trust in that. Now, I must say, gain more experience, that figure should increase. So professionals should have a much higher rate. But definitely when you are learning and growing and you are sitting in an exercise to bring through spirit, know that pretty much a lot of what you are going to receive is not you. So the first thing to remember is that it does have an accompanying energy, which has a warmth, a calmness, and a sense of peace. And that is whether it is spirit inspired or whether it's your own spirit, your connection to the universe, and your intuition coming through. Okay, secondly, understand that the mind maps logically. It works in a certain way. So with the mind, let's say if I talk to you about a tree and ask you to visualize a tree. The mind is going to go trunk, branches, leaves, birds, sky, you know, and it might go to a plane, you know, it might go to somewhere that you've actually been, you know, so it all maps logically. How your intuition and how spirit works is often there's no logical thought processes about it, you know, so you might actually be standing there doing your shopping list, you know, thinking about what you've got to get at the shops, and then suddenly a thought pops in about grandma, or a thought pops in about, you know, a birthday coming up in the family, or that's been passed, or some other random memory. You know, it's those kind of things. And certainly when you are sitting again with your mediumship and you're working, and let's say you receive a piece of information that you don't understand, or that you don't fully comprehend or cannot interpret, then you must go with that, because at the end of the day, one of the things about that is that it can't be you if it's not making a whole lot of sense to you, you know, so you need to go with that. You need to understand that spirit communication, your intuition, your mediumship works beyond the boundaries of being logical, which is how our own mind works. So just accept those. And some of those most random moments of information are just beautiful. And I can remember one of those was I was at a book signing, and I was signing a book for one of the ladies that had bought my latest book, Wisdom of the Soul. And as I was writing her name, I just saw an image of a balloon. And totally random, totally out of nowhere, you know, I'm writing a name, signing, and I'm seeing a balloon. And I just said to her, does balloons mean anything to you? And she absolutely just was, you know, that represented her brother, you know, who was in spirit, and it was his way of coming through to her, you know, so they were a big thing in his life and in her connection to him, you know. So when they're random, understand that the mind doesn't work that way, you know, the mind's very logical. So when they're random, go with that. So that's the second thing to look for. And the last thing is when you actually do receive intuition from spirit and you receive a random spirit communication in your life, you know, from your family, then generally following those experiences, you will see signs and symbols validating that from the spirit world. You know, especially if it is an intuitive thought and it's leading you it's leading you forward in directions. If it's about a new project, if it's about new ideas, if it's part of your creative process in life, then what these intuitive thoughts and ideas about how to move forward will be supported by the universe and synchronicity. You know, they'll lead you forward in this way. You'll see it externally as much as what you'll see it in here and what you feel. Okay, so just trust in that. And before you action, just give yourself a little time to see the intuition filter through into the universe a little, you know, so you can go, okay, great, you know, I know exactly what it is, and I know it's just not in my head, and it's actually, I can see the synchronicity associated with it. And the same with spirit communication. You know, if you do have random thoughts popping in from your loved ones, because at the end of the day, clairaudience is more common than what you think, ask for those signs. You know, if you think it is grandma or, you know, mum or dad or whoever it might be, if you think it is them, ask them, say, you know, I hear you, I feel you, you know, just give me another sign so I'm 100% sure. And once you do accept that sign, you know, but you'll see the synchronicity support those kind of thoughts. If they're not there, if synchronicity is not there and you don't have a warmth or a peace or a calmness associated with it, and the thought actually feels empty, then you can say, hey, it is a little in my mind. The other thing that I find is, especially with your mediumship in life, whatever it might be, developing a sense of knowing with your intuition, a yes and a no within who you are, and you can tell, is this right? And in your body you feel yes or no, then that goes a long way to helping you with your mediumship and with making life choices and decisions in life. And I know that in my first book, which is my mediumship development book, it's called A New Kind of Normal, there is an exercise called your intuitive navigation system. And certainly it can help you learn to distinguish choices, decisions, what is right for you, what isn't right for you, but even simply down to, is this an intuitive thought, yes or no? Is this spirit, yes or no? Is this what I'm thinking? Have I got my interpretation right? As you'll feel it as you say it, so just enjoy the process of learning. All this information will help raise your self-awareness. So just to recap before I finish up, and so how do we distinguish an intuitive or spirit-inspired thought from your own? Is you look for the energy that's with it. You look for the warmth, the peace, the harmony. You look for that feeling of warmth and the warm blanket wrapping itself around you that is accompanied with the thought. You be aware of how the mind works and how the mind maps logically, and is that thought a random, not associated with what you were thinking? Okay. And thirdly, the signs and the symbols and the synchronicity that will support that thought process externally in this world. And when you've got all three, then what you've got coming through there is spirit. So God bless. And if you do have any questions, about this topic, about what we've discussed here today, or if you have another question that I can help you with, whether it's mediumship, law of attraction, creativity, living from spirit, then by all means, you can visit my website, kerrywaring.com, or just even post a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and have a great week. Thank you.